Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Minister, for having this dialogue with the European Parliament today. Last month, your President, Emmanuel Macron, and the Italian Prime Minister, Mario Draghi, wrote an op-ed in the Financial Times calling for the reform of the EU fiscal rules and to see the recently established Next Generation EU as a model for growth, which means, especially in times of crisis, spending on a large scale in research, infrastructure, digitalization and defense. Now, I believed Next Generation EU, after the long and harsh negotiations, was supposed to be a temporary solution to recover from the COVID crisis, but apparently it should now be seen as a more permanent means of finance. On the other hand, this also means that increasing debt guaranteed by the collective of the member states. If we look at Next Generation EU and how the money is spent, it has shown that some countries benefit more than others. In France, for example, I looked in how you spend the money from the Next Generation EU. It is financed to, it is used to finance the National Recovery Plan, where French companies receive financial support through loans and access to specific funds, which could in the end worsen the competitive position of other member states. So my questions are you in favor of creating a permanent Next Generation EU, which also means permanent common European debt and permanent EU taxation? And when you speak of this new economic model with deeper finance, could you please elaborate on how you envision these new rules and how they should be monitored? Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you very much, Michel. On Next Generation EU first, let me just recall for you that this is a temporary mechanism. Now, decisions may be made sometime down the road by the Parliament or member states and the Commission, but for the time being at least, this mechanism that we adopted together democratically is a temporary one. So that's just a legal fact. Are there states that receive more than others? Yes, because the very principle, and I think it's the principle of solidarity, which is new and fundamental for Europe, you need to help more those states that have suffered more from the crisis, because it's our interest, in the interest of the Netherlands, that Italy and Spain and France come out of the crisis more quickly, because that would mean that the Netherlands would be able to trade effectively with those states which have gotten back on their economic feet more quickly. Now, what we don't want, and let me be clear about this, is we don't want to repeat the mistakes of 2010, 2011, where, through a lack of solidarity, we left certain states on their own. We increased our debts, and we lost out on growth. Here we've adopted a new approach, which I think is much better, and we're seeing the results. It's an approach based on solidarity. Those that have suffered most from the crisis get more so that they can get back on their feet faster, so that collectively we will all enjoy greater growth. And just to reassure you, all of this needs to be done while respecting competition rules. And all aid projects for states have been assessed by the Commission and the member states, including the Netherlands, because they respect competition rules, and that's very important. And we made sure of that. And secondly, there's a counterpart to this aid. There's a commitment, these milestones, commitments taken on the part of member states, the decisions need to be made in order to improve competition and competitiveness in their economies. So it's healthy, it's fair, and it's effective. And honestly, I can tell you, I think this is a European economic model which we can put this into place. In terms of the rules, well, a new growth and stability pact with rules that we will be defining together will assume that those rules are to be respected. The rules are there to be followed, otherwise they're not rules. That's why we need to redefine these rules, because when you have rules that aren't being respected by anyone, well, then obviously they're not good rules. So we need to set up new rules that are effective and monitored and respected. Thank you.